Hi there crafters, it's Louise with you today. Thanks for popping by my channel and joining me for another 3 old 3 new scrapbook layout little challenge for myself today. I am starting with a black cardstock background, and one of the 3 old items I've chosen are actually my Color Blast pastes. So back in the day where mixed media was all the rage and all of my layouts had paste and sprays and splatters and all kinds of fun stuff going on in the background, I had a whole collection of these Color Blast pastes, and I still have a few in my stash. And the thing with these pastes is once you peel the protective film off of them, they start to get air even with a sealed lid on top, and eventually those pastes, they're going to go hard. So in order to encourage not only those YouTube watchers out there but myself as well, I am using up some of those pastes before they dry out. Now, I've also gone with circular photos because I am again working off of a sketch. So I had roughly drawn up this sketch and had the 4 photos in the 4 different sections of the layout, and I sort of had a bit of an idea in my head that I was going to layer them out in those 4 corners and make areas of interest around. But look, as with everything, a sketch is all about interpretation, and what may work for one particular person's photos or style is not for everybody else. So my project does go in a slightly different direction, but I actually really enjoyed this creative process. There was no pressure to do any particular type of scrapbooking. I am using mixed media in my background, but I didn't start off with that as a particular plan, so there's no pressure. I'm purely just creating for fun. Now, you can see that one of my new items was the Funky Fossil dot stamp, and I've used that with a white stamp pad, which is, I think, an essential if you're going to use cardstock backgrounds or do any sort of art journaling or mixed media. The white gives you just a different definition, and you can see how cool this stamp looks in that background. And as I start to work some of the paste around, you can also see that sort of shimmery deliciousness that's going on there. It's really I love the paste because they dry super quickly and they're so easy to use. You can see I've just spread them around with a spatula, again following that almost cross section that I drew for my background with the white paint pen to begin with. I felt like now that I had sort of worked on that background, they needed a little bit of splatter. So again, going with the color theme in this particular layout, I've chosen the purple paste because I've got the purple patterned paper, which is again one of the stash items. I have gone with gold, and then of course gold splatters and some white as well. I'm going to distress around my photos just again to give them texture. I'm also going to mount them on some cardboard so that they lift off of that mixed media background. Once I'm happy with how they look, I'm going to start to embellish and add a few extra items around. So I thoroughly enjoy the process of creating this sort of background design, and I like to sometimes do it when I have an idea in mind, but sometimes it's fun just to play too. And when there's no pressure to use a photo or an element, creating a background can be a great way to spark your creativity. Instead of prepping a whole layout, maybe you just pull out a cardstock and a spray and a texture paste, and you just spray texture paste over cardstock onto a white background, and that's your creation. It's almost like making your own pattern papers that you can later on start to use in your creations. Now, one of my other stash items was flare buttons. I would love you to leave me a comment if you've still got flare buttons in your stash. Again, a little bit like paste, they haven't been as used on layouts as they used to be. So I think flare buttons, you know, maybe they make a comeback. In this particular case, because I'm focusing on those sort of circular photos, I think that, yeah, those little additions of the flare buttons give some circle and some texture, and I love how they look. So I really did have a great amount of fun completing this layout. I think that the circular photos, which are distressed, look great. I love this sort of shiny background over the top of the black. It's a really fun page, and I hope that you have picked up maybe a little tip or a technique, or you're inspired to pull out some flare buttons and use them from your stash. It could be even just, you know, as simple as starting with a black cardstock background. You know, I started my YouTube channel because I picked up a lot of inspiration when I first started scrapbooking, which was roughly about 15 plus years ago. I decided that I was going to make my own YouTube channel sharing my creations in hopes that it would inspire others. So maybe you like this layout, maybe it's not for you, it's not your style, you don't want to use mixed media. I don't mind. If you've watched this video and you've taken anything out of it at all, that makes me happy. So particularly if you'd like to leave me a comment, I'm always happy to read them. So I thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed that video, and if you haven't already, of course, please subscribe.